Hello and welcome back to the TVBenches.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBenches.com, and I'm joined as always by a fellow TV Benches writer. She's accidentally been sent to heaven, but trying to fake it. It's Olivia Richards! Hello!
Story of my life.
Just trying to get by. We are talking about NBC's first premiere of the fall season from Mike Schur, the creator of Parks and Rec, a show that you and I both dearly love.
Yep.
It's The Good Place. Olivia, what did you think?
Oh my god, I forkin' loved it.
Perfect.
It was everything I wanted it to be and more.
I in our preview episode, I expressed concern that the trailer wasn't the greatest, and maybe this one might take some time. And I was so forking wrong about that.
Yes.
This show is awesome. Thank God for that. Because I was so excited watching this. It felt so different. It captured everything that we sort of love about quote-unquote traditional sitcoms, especially the sort of single-cam mentality that Parks and Rec and The Office have kind of mastered. But it took that and put it in a new and different setting that allows for a whole lot of unique storytelling situations that even in the first two episodes, I am just so excited about.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start because this just did so much right. And having Michael Schur on as the creator has just, I don't think anyone else could have pulled it off the way that he does. But obviously his track record of just incredible comedies that, you know, just have substance and heart and depth is just, I mean, you have The Office, you have Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you have, you know, now this, Parks and Rec. It's just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so this one, the premise is that Kristen Bell plays Eleanor, who is who was a bad person in her time on Earth, who died an unfortunate and embarrassing death, and is now in the afterlife. An afterlife neighborhood that is run by Ted Danson of all kinds of fame, most notably Cheers in this case, channeling like his most Ted Dansonist. Like he is so unbelievably likable in this role, but he is the sort of community manager of this perfect neighborhood in a very exclusive heaven. And Kristen Bell, he has made a mistake and omitted Kristen Bell when she should have definitely been sent to the bad place, which of course represents hell. And so it is a sort of, what I like about this is it captures the sort of fish out of water premise that so many sitcoms have, but in an entirely unique setting. And it's about this woman who was a not a great person on Earth. She wasn't like a killer or anything, but she was a sort of run-of-the-mill, inconsiderate person on Earth who is now surrounded by amazing people, and she is kind of trying to get by and also in the process becoming maybe on the path to becoming a better person. And it just made me feel good. The show made me feel good. I mean, that's like ultimately what it is. Like, I don't know what else to say other than that. Like, I watched this and you feel kind of uplifted. It's not preachy, but you do feel, I don't know. Did you have this experience where like you just kind of felt better about humanity for some reason, even though the show doesn't take place on Earth?
That's exactly how I felt. And I love that it's essentially, it's a show that's set in what could have been an exclusive religious atmosphere, but they made it all inclusive. So it wasn't so much about, you know, because it's the idea of heaven and hell, but it's a very inclusive atmosphere that they created for these characters. I think they did a great job of setting Kristen Bell up as a flawed character, but one who isn't necessarily unlikable, because I think there are so many ways that writers don't understand how you can have a complex character but not make it so that, you know, the audience can't relate back to them or make them so unlikable that there's no way that they can be redeemable. So I think that you have Kristen Bell playing this character who is redeemable, but at the moment is just deeply flawed and complex and made some really, really poor life decisions that she's now slowly but surely trying to correct. And she has this incredible chemistry with the rest of the cast. And yeah, no, it's an incredible show.
I mean, I think you hit on the most important point, is that this is a show about someone who, on paper, and the sort of worldview put forth on this show is that your life sort of comes down to paper. You know, a good column and a bad column, and the good column has to be very, very high relative to the bad column to get into heaven. It's that on paper, Kristen Bell is not a good person. And yet, I liked her so much in this first hour. I love that character. And it's a trick that so few shows can pull off, which is having a character who is, on paper, not likable, be very likable. And I think it's a credit both to the writing and the vision of the show, and also to her as an actress. She is unbelievably likable in this role and plays it with such heart and commits so much to who she is without selling out like sort of the nature of that character. And it just seems to work. And I love her chemistry with William Jackson Harper, who is playing Chidi, her designated soulmate, except he was designated to be the soulmate of the woman that she was mistaken for. And so he is this amazing philanthropist and ethics professor who did all kinds of, humanitarian missions, and he's paired with this woman, this salesperson who is like a lousy person, and he is trying to cope with that situation. And I just enjoyed him so much and how they played off each other, and the whole setting is so novel. You know, the woman who you can sort of summon, the kind of Siri type figure who can make anything a reality, I really enjoyed. And it's just like, it's maybe not like a laugh out loud show at this point. Like, it's not a sort of gut busting show, but it's also just like, it was funny. It was definitely funny enough in terms of laughs. And it was also just extremely clever and charming and enjoyable. And to me, that sort of combination makes for a very much a winning show.
Exactly. And I think there's so much room for it to move forward. So from what I'm seeing, and for what we saw in the first 2 episodes, you have Kristen Bell as sort of this outlier in this utopia. And when she starts lying about things or when she does something wrong, it's obviously her who's causing all of these flaws and blips to happen in this otherwise perfect society, essentially, that was set up. But I got this sort of like uneasy feeling that it wasn't just her. There's something else. And I even got that feeling from Ted Danson's character, where maybe there's something kind of like fishy going on with him. So I like this idea that there's something bigger that she got dropped into. So it's not maybe just inherently her character, but it kind of questions the idea of perfection.
Yeah, I really liked seeing the Ted Danson character have like a breakdown when he was, we learned that this is his first sort of community management project in heaven, presumably assigned by some kind of godlike figure. And he is kind of panicking and worried that things are going bad and he doesn't understand why. And then we get the woman who's, I didn't pick up the character's name, but she is very, she rings false, like as a fake person. She wound up in heaven because she did a lot of good on paper, but she is not necessarily a good person. And I think that that's a very interesting thing to mine. And the show definitely, as you touched on, doesn't subscribe to any religion in particular. And I think that was a necessary thing to do because the comedy can't be about that. If it was only Christians are in heaven, or no Christians are in heaven, or any of that stuff, that would become the focal point of the show. And I think the show has much more interesting things to say beyond sort of an assessment of which religion is right. I don't think the show is interested at all in that. And so it sort of invents this, it makes a joke out of it where the only person to ever sort of get it right was some kid who was high and who ate a bunch of Cheetos or whatever. Like, it's so unconcerned with that it's not really an issue. That the whole religion aspect of it is so in the background. And what really matters are these characters and how they interact and this heaven setting that, as you said, has this perfect exterior, but I get the sense that Kristen Bell's presence is going to reveal the cracks in that, and that that all these entities, like Ted Danson's character Michael, seem perfect, but they actually have a lot of humanity left in them, and humanity, of course, is prone to making mistakes. And it's so, like, these episodes, like, made me think and were so smart, which is what you would expect from a lecture show, but also so positive and kind of reminded me a little bit of a much more positive version of You're the Worst on FX, where
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, the central character is someone who on paper is unlikable, but is actually very likable and sympathetic. And that sort of the bad things that they do feel for whatever reason, like, you don't hold that against them. You know, like you still root for the character and you kind of want them to get their life together and do well. I'm already getting that sense with this show, and that is a great place to be in. And I mean, yeah, this show put me in a good place, definitely.
Absolutely.
So this did a 2.3 rating in the demo with 8.1 million viewers, which both numbers are lower than the premiere of Kevin Can Wait, which is just go ahead.
Part, but
yeah, but also Kevin Can Wait is on CBS. This is NBC. Maybe there's a difference there. It's pretty good numbers. Like, those are pretty good numbers, but also this was a Monday premiere. The show is actually going to air on Thursdays, starting with this Thursday, actually. There'll be 3 episodes this week. 2 aired last night. So hopefully on Thursday those numbers continue, because if it does something like a 2.3 in the demo all year, the show's going to be fine. So hopefully that carries over. So your verdict, Olivia, cancel quickly, make it through the season, or renewed for next season?
I'm going to hold on to Kristen Bell's optimism, who I actually learned she is not taking any roles until the show is officially announced for its 2nd season. So I'm really holding out that the show is going to get renewed for a 2nd season.
It's awesome. So am I. After watching a show that is so optimistic and so positive, I cannot imagine trying to bring the hammer down and saying this is going to be canceled at any point. I want this show to run for like the 7 seasons that Parks and Rec got. And
oh my God, that would be incredible.
Hopefully it does. We'll see. It's very early. So Olivia, thumbs up or thumbs down on The Good Place?
This is absolutely the biggest thumbs up.
Yeah, this might be my favorite comedy we've ever talked about in this show. I think it just might be. This was everything I could have hoped it would be. It's deep, it's thoughtful, it's clever, it's funny, which is important. It's something that I think is really underrated about Parks and Rec. That for as much as the message of Parks and the characters and, you know, Ron Swanson and Andy and all those characters that we love, like, for all the publicity that they get, Parks and Rec was really forking funny. And this, even though these first 2 episodes maybe weren't the funniest, they were still funny enough, and they still made me laugh out loud a few times. And for a premiere, that's really good, and I can just see this one getting really, really funny to go along with the great atmosphere and setting. And I'm just really excited about it. So, thumbs up from me. So you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Or find us at southgatemediagroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia, and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Until next time.